Hello, my name is Daniel Shipman, and I'm representing Team 2 for the process pitch portion. We have a company called Printed. They are a construction technology company. They specialize in printed concrete foundations for residential homes. So as our team got together to discuss problems out there that we might be able to solve, we all had a discussion and we noticed that many of us on the team are in the midst of forming families and looking for homes, or even just moving to a new home because maybe we're doing well in our career. We all were very concerned about the price of housing and where that's going in the long term. It locks out a lot of people at the lower end of the market, and right now it seems that with median home prices so high, they're really not making things that are going to be suitable for lower income individuals. During that discussion, we further decided that, we decided to talk about the cost drivers for the industry. We did identify two main cost drivers. Those are the cost of material, and then also the cost of labor, cost and time of labor. Well, when we started taking a look at it, 3D printing actually solves both of these issues. There's a couple of hurdles in the medium term, the short to medium term, but we don't think these are anything that will stop the market from developing. So we thought, well, that's a great place to start. And naturally, we'll just print off 3D printed houses. We'll finish them and we'll sell them and we'll capture the entire profit and we'll make a killing. Well, that was very wishful. But so we decided to identify our customer segment. Those would typically be middle income consumers with medium to large houses, typically in the 3 to 4 bedroom range with some custom floor plan, but nothing really extraordinary. The other group that we identified were upper income consumers. These are typically custom homes. They might range in, high number of bedrooms or bathrooms, odd square footages, and floor plans that are customized to any one given consumer. So we thought, wow, this is great. Let's just go after this. Well, so we made our way through the BMC1, and we eventually got to the last portion, which is cost, or one of the final portions, which is cost. And we honestly had no idea what the capital costs or maybe what holding costs were on the proposal. And so we started doing some more research into that, and we identified what we thought it would take to build a full home, and including flooring, roofs, windows, plumbing, electrical, etc., etc. Also including all of the other components, land, raw materials, and the time frame that it would take us to secure everything, go through the process, and then sell the house. It was a significant portion of time. It also was a significant portion of resources. We believed that with the cost that we had identified at the time, we believed that there was no way that we as a startup could raise that kind of capital that would really get people interested. So we were a little bit lost. So we decided to go back to the drawing board. When we did that, we thought, what is the best methods that you could increase your revenue and decrease your costs? So what we came up with is the idea of, we didn't in fact want to hold on to a property for that duration of time. We didn't want to have to go through all of the issues associated with having to set the labor up and finish the houses, and it was very burdensome. So we thought the best way to do to do this business would be to try to maximize our capacity utilization. With that in mind, that brings us to a thought pattern of we should be buying capital and trying to keep it as utilized as humanly possible 100% of the time if we can. And then we thought, well, if that's the case, then we are literally just printing structures. So who would we do that with? The easy answer to that is residential builders. Residential builders already do this with framing teams. So they'll pay a crew of individuals to come in and frame a house, and then they'll pay for other components of the house, and they assemble them. They kind of work as a general contractor. And so the plan it's using the value propositions with builders. We thought that this was a new good solid plan to move forward with. So we began speaking with interviewing builders, and what we found out is they were kind of on the spectrum of they had no idea that this existed, or they kind of knew about it. And once we went through the process of educating them on the value propositions in particular, they really gained a lot of interest in the idea. They had a lot of questions like, well, how would you sell to us? Where could we see this? Could you demo them for us? And the answer to all of those was very thought-provoking, and I think worked into the business plan to our credit. And we thought, well, these guys take a lot of money to acquire all of that, going out and searching for builders, etc., is going to be kind of burdensome. And the feedback from the builders was something to the extent of that they would be concerned getting into the first iteration of a house build, but after that, if they're capturing a lot of profit, they would be very very interested in moving forward as a repeat customer, something that we would then want to scale. So we started talking to these guys and identifying what would be our real key activities as a company, and we came up with the following. Obviously, we're printing off 3D domiciles, but the real key components to our our business are going to both be marketing and engineering, marketing, sales, and engineering. They're basically we're going to build a core competency around engineering and then use that B2B marketing to spread that plan. So then we thought, well, you know what? The last time was a bust. We didn't actually. We got to the end, and we figured out that we could not actually start this business. So we went about the key resources. They were. Some of them were the same as they were in the previous iteration, but we did drop a lot of other costs. And what we came up with was the equipment, etc. It's going to cost us about $1 million per increment of printer and everything that it needs to support that in order to move forward. And then also, we're going to need to bring in mass volumes of concrete. So we're going to need to identify key partnerships under concrete and develop those. And we think that there's a potential cost savings there as well. And then obviously our personnel, our engineering is a definite key resource. So as we move through the iterations that we went through, initially we did obviously target direct to consumer. But in this iteration, and further iterations, we did identify that that builders will be a key segment. Architects will not. We thought that coming in, that was a little odd. Structural engineers in local communities will be. And so we have a game plan of how we can sew together these key partnerships to move the business forward. So again, we went through costs. We identified all of the things that we just discussed, the increment of capacity or capital. We discussed the production with, the reduction of direct labor costs and all of those things. And then obviously we've got a lot of indirect costs as well that'll be our engineers. And we think that as a technology company, we are going to move forward with developing some software and potentially even some printers down the road. But that overall, there's a very large opportunity in this, and that working through this BMC template was structurally very good to get the team moving forward on the process and creating the business. So thank you for the time. That was team 2. Appreciate it. Well, it's better than this morning's for sure.